Welcome back to the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. Ryan Lovelace, joined by everybody for the first time in a few weeks. Drew Linus, Brittany Jackson Tucker, and Derek Morris. And guys, no more bye weeks. We have a full slate of games. We have 11 games this week, 8 of them outside of Bradley County. And then, so we're just going to go through those games first like we always do. And Drew, you're batting leadoff for us.
That's what we like to hear. Okay, first game of the week that we're going to talk about is East Hamilton versus Red Bank. Red Bank coming off a tough loss last week to Fayetteville. 38-2 was their first loss of the season. I mean, it's more of a beatdown. My sister texted me at halftime and said it was an ugly first half when it was, I think, 35-0 at the half. But, you know, the big thing between this game is, number one seed in the region is on the line. East Hamilton also took a big L last week. You know, hurricane must have died out before it got to land. Okay. All right. They lost to Friendship Christian 31-14. So a big game tomorrow night between East Hamilton and Red Bank.
Tomorrow night at 7:30, Sweetwater and Tellico Plains. A very good team in Sweetwater versus a not so good team in Tellico Plains. Sweetwater, they're coming off a big win at Brainerd. They're 6-2, 4-0 in region play. They may be looking forward to next week against McMinn Central, where they'll be playing in the region championship game for the 1 seed in their region. Meanwhile, Tellico Plains, they're not making the playoffs this year. Their defense is allowing 35 points per game. They're 3-5 on the year, winless in region play. But they are coming off a win at Bledsoe County, 52-7. So nice little win streak rolling for Tellico Plains of 1 game. That is tomorrow night at 7:30.
Also tomorrow night, a very exciting game, a region championship game over in Middle Tennessee. Baylor at MBA at 7 o'clock. Baylor coming off a win at Hendersonville, 56-14, so a big win last week. They are 6-1 in the season. Second time facing the number 1 team in D2 AAA this year. A win would secure their region championship. So this is a huge game. On the other side of it, MBA had a bye week last week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this big game. They had a win 2 weeks ago against Ensworth, 35-17. They are 8-0, have not lost yet this season. So this is going to be an exciting one. Winner wins the region.
Yeah.
Well, possibly the game of the week, we have Polk County versus Lookout Valley. Polk County had a big win last week against Marion County, which is big because they have lost 3 of the last 5. Lookout Valley is a 1A school facing against a 3A Polk County school, so you guys get your tickets early.
The next matchup we have is Silverdale Baptist at Grace Christian Academy out of Knoxville. Big thing about this game is both teams need this win to stay on track in the playoff race. Now, if we're looking at things from an outsider, Silverdale coming in from a bye week after a loss 2 weeks ago, to Knox Webb. Last year they beat Grace Christian Academy 49-6. And if that's any indication how things will go, Grace Christian's playoff hopes will slowly die on Friday.
Wow, that was depressing. Meanwhile, McMinn Central versus Rockwood, that game's at 7:30. The Chargers of McMinn Central coming in off a bye week. Before that, they lost against Loudon 29-0. I was at that game. I'm just going to chalk it up to injuries. Go Chargers. They're 5-3 on the year, 3-1 in region play. I mentioned they have that region championship against Sweetwater next week. So, it's one of those games that doesn't necessarily matter. But Rockwood, they beat McMinn Central 43-0 last year. They would like to win the second year in a row against McMinn Central. They are also 5-3 overall and 2-1 in region play. They're coming off a big win versus Wartburg last week where they scored 62 points. They beat them 62-26. That is a big one at McMinn Central tomorrow night at 7:30.
Also tomorrow night at 7:30, McMinn County at Loudon. The Cherokees had a huge win last week against Walker Valley, 24-7. It gave them the number 1 seed in the region. They're 6-2 in the season. Loudon, on the other hand, had a bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks ago, they beat McMinn Central 29-0, shutout. Season record is 5-3. Last year, they only lost 31-21. So I think it'll be an exciting game at Loudon tomorrow night at 7:30.
All right, the second primetime game is Ooltewah Owls versus Brainerd at 7:30. So Ooltewah gave up a 28-0 lead and lost 35-0 to Saudi Daisy. Sorry, Drew. The Brainerd Panthers, though, have won 2 of the last 3. So this is a game that literally nobody knows what's going to happen.
Well, you heard it there first. We got 8 great games outside of Bradley County. 2 of them conveniently, Derek had them both, are both very good primetime games. But we have 8 great games, so go out and watch some high school football. It's week 10. As you know, we only have 1 regular season week left, so the few of these games are region matchups, which have playoff implications, and then a few other ones are just random matchups like Ooltewah and Brainerd. But it's high school football, and we all love it, so get out there and watch it. When we come back, we're going to talk about our 3 local teams that are all facing off against out-of-region opponents. But we're going to do that right after a quick break. You're watching the MixTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. We will be right back.
We're here at Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland.
We are here with great service.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here with great deals.
We're here for you.
So come get huge Nissan savings when you shop Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland and Cleveland-Nissan today. Home of the exclusive lifetime warranty.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland, 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
So Lynn, tell me about your experience at Chattanooga Auto Square.
We have been thrilled with the service, and we wouldn't dream of shopping anywhere else.
They take the time to show you everything and work with you. The salespeople there were excellent.
It's been good working with Tim and also with the people in service.
I'm sure he lives here.
And that is correct.
Chattanooga Auto Square. Luxury lives here.
Hands. You might think they're just for waving, but they can be used for all kinds of things, like making made-from-scratch biscuits at Hardee's.
Bite into the new 2 for $5 breakfast deal only at Hardee's.
Remember Me Senior Care is Cleveland's first assisted living and memory care neighborhood. They specialize in assisted living for those who are still active, with a community of indoor and outdoor activities. They also provide memory care living for those who are facing life with dementia. Learn more online at remembermesc.com or call their office and set up an in-person visit at 423-473-3140. Remember Me Senior Care, a culture of care your loved one deserves.
Wholesale Supply Group, you've heard the name for years. The experts trust them, and you should too. Whether you're building, remodeling, or just maintaining your home, Wholesale Supply Group has all the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC products you need to supply any project. With great brands like Delta, Kohler, Rinnai, Mansfield, Progress Lighting, Square D, GE, and Milwaukee, Wholesale Supply has everything you need. Check out the locations in Cleveland, Chattanooga, Athens, Dayton, Madisonville, Dalton, and Chatsworth. Online, wholesalesupply.us. And remember, Wholesale Supply is open to the public.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Welcome back to the MixTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. Ryan Lovelace still here with Drew Linus, Brittany Jackson Tucker, and Derek Morris. And guys, we have 3 games in our area to talk about. And jumping right in, Cleveland versus Giles County. Cleveland coming off a loss versus Bearden 34-24. With that loss, they are eliminated from the playoffs. This game's obviously not a region matchup, as Giles County's coming all the way from Pulaski. They're a 3A school, and they're ranked 6th in that classification. They're coming off a win versus Sequatchie County, 43-21. They're 6-2 and 3-0 on the year. Last year, when Cleveland went to Pulaski, Giles County came out with a win, 33-20. We'll see if Giles County coming over to our time zone has any effect on their performance. Meanwhile, Derek, just starting off with Cleveland, what are your thoughts on last week's game?
It's a disappointing loss, of course, for Cleveland because, eliminates them from the playoffs. So as a senior, that's their last chance for it. But what you got to do is reset going into this game. So against Giles County, they want revenge from last year. It's senior night at Cleveland because it's their last home game. So there's still reasons to come out and play hard and obviously try to win the game. So hopefully Cleveland can reset and do this one right.
So Brittany, how hard is it to reset after you sort of, lose a game that could have secured you a playoff spot and now you're eliminated, but you still have 2 games left? How do you sort of work your way through the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's tough because these games really don't mean anything. I say they don't mean anything, they do. I mean, you want to finish strong for your seniors. Coach mentioned it's senior night, but, it's just you're a competitor. You want to win, and so you want to finish out strong. Even though you're not going to be able to go to playoffs, I think it's important for these Cleveland players to come out and finish strong and at least, get these next 2 wins and feel good about the season rather than just, you can't give up. You got to keep fighting, and I think these kids will.
So last week they fought. We were talking about it earlier. I mean, it was a close game the whole way, and top 4 teams in each region make the playoffs. So the 4 teams ahead of Cleveland are all ranked in the top 13 in the AP poll in Class 6A. Wow. So do you think there's sort of do you think I feel like Cleveland has played good this year, Drew. I mean, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's been some games where they've looked really, really strong, and there's some games where they haven't looked great, but still been in the game. There hadn't been, to me, there hadn't been a game that they've just laid down. And so, it's kind of a tough schedule. Usually you get excited when one team is like, oh, it's their down year, but it was just the year that all the teams in their region were really good.
Yeah. We mentioned eliminated from the playoffs, but that doesn't stop them. They will face off against Giles County tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Benny Monroe Stadium. You can listen to it right here on Mix 104.1. Moving on, Drew, Walker Valley, believe it or not, only team in the county that still has a chance to host a playoff game. All you guys have to do is beat Howard to wrap that up, but that's next week.
Yeah.
This week, tomorrow night, you guys are hosting Upperman. Upperman, they are very good this year. They beat you guys 28-14 last year, and they're 6-2 on the year this year. They're coming off an overtime win in which they beat DeKalb County 17-16. They are ranked 4th in Class 4A. On the other side of the coin, you guys, Walker Valley, coming off a loss at McMinn County 24-7. That game was for the region championship game, so a win would have secured the 1 seed. 3-5 on the year, but 2-1 in region play. What are your thoughts sort of on last week?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough loss, obviously. We had a great chance to win the region. It had been the first time we'd beaten McMinn in school history. And, for the last couple of years, we've had those firsts where we've beaten them for the first time, or we've beaten this team for the first time, or we've hosted a playoff game for the first time. And so those things are awesome because it's an indication of what our coaching staff and our players have bought into what's going on. Now, obviously, it sucked last week that we couldn't get it done, couldn't get the win. But now we got to bounce back with 2 more games, and our last 2 games were at home. Earlier in the year we had lost 3 straight at home, and so it was like one of those things. Kind of, I don't know if that plays in our guys' heads at all. But the great thing is this is a non-region matchup. We're still going to go to the playoffs. We win next week against Howard. We'll host the playoff game, so that's fun to know that we're going to get at least 1 more game after next week. But just making sure that we're the right mindset, we're doing things the right way, and we're ready to roll tomorrow night.
Yeah, so you talk about it. You guys play another game this year, and you could host that game, but it's kind of crazy to look down and see the 3-5 record.
Yeah.
You mentioned the 3 losses at home. You guys are winless at home this year. Brittany, do you think that sort of plays like a mental effect about, we haven't won a home game yet this year?
Of course, I think that does. With any player, it gets in your head, and you think. But I also think you can look at it on the other side and say, hey, motivate you to, hey, you win your last game. The Howard game's at home, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's at home. We win. We host playoffs. So kind of turn it around and get a positive out of it. I think if again, competitors, that's what you want to do, and you look at the other side of it instead of just we got to play at home again. So I think it's a plus for Walker Valley to try to end strong.
Yeah. So Derek, any last words on the Upperman Bees?
Well, it's an interesting game because Walker Valley does have the playoffs.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to win every game, of course, because they are competitors and they put that time in. But as a coach, sometimes you got to look long term. And this may be a game where they play to win, but with some guys that might need some rest going into the next one that really counts. So from a standpoint of picking the game, it could be a little bit different because they may not play this one quite as hard as they will the next one.
Fair enough. Big game. Anyways, you mentioned competitive. Everybody wants to win, and both teams will be trying to win tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That game is at Walker Valley. You can listen to it on 99.1 The Fiesta. Moving on to our last game, Bradley Central at Ray County. That is a 7:30 kickoff tomorrow night on 101.3 The Buzz. You can listen to it. Bradley Central coming off a loss against Farragut at home, 31-10. They are 6-2 on the year, 2-2 in region play. Because of that loss, they can no longer host a playoff game, hence Walker Valley being the only team to have a chance to do that. Meanwhile, Ray County, for the second time this year, we can say they're coming in off a win. They beat Howard last week 45-7. They are 2-6 on the year, 2-2 in region play. You know, we saw Ray County. Bradley came into this game, I believe, undefeated last year, and Ray County punched them in the mouth and beat them at Bear Stadium. Brittany, you think there's sort of just, you want revenge?
I think they're
going
to want to punch
river?
them in the mouth again,
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it's at home. But Bradley's, you know, they're beat up, and I think any team's going to try to take advantage of that. So it's just important for Bradley to come in, and if they play their game, they win this game.
Yeah.
So that's just crucial that, you know, going into this game, even though they might not be healthy, that they've got to have players step up and they've got to play Bradley football.
So, Derek, Bradley, before the Farragut game, they had a bye week, and the week before that, they lost to Bearden. So both of Bradley's losses have been back-to-back over a 3-week span. So how big would a win be for Bradley, even though it's at Ray County, going into Maryville?
That would be huge because they need some of that confidence back. And some of those players that are playing, because of all the injuries, may not have that confidence. So a win for that would really boost maybe those younger players, those second, third string guys, to get some confidence in themselves going forward. So Bradley's looking to play this game I would say almost like a playoff game, like it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
Yeah. Drew, any words on Bradley traveling over the river to Ray County?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those that, like, you know, like Derek said, treating it like a playoff game. You know, Coach Floyd always has those guys ready, and, you know, he doesn't want those guys looking at that Ray County record and think, oh, they're 2-6, they're not any good. Yeah. Because, you know, going to Ray County is never fun, in pretty much any sport. But you know, just trying to go there and get their minds right before they head to these final couple weeks of the season. Yeah.
So Bradley Central at Ray County tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. You can listen to it on 101.3 The Buzz. We have 3 great games. Cleveland and Walker Valley are hosting. Bradley's the only team on the road. You can listen to them right here on our 3 channels: Cleveland on 104.1, Bradley on 101.3. and Walker Valley on 99.1. We've talked about 11 games so far in our Southeast Tennessee area, and when we come back, we are going to pick them. You're watching the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. We will be right back.
From Lookout Mountain to Cleveland, from Red Bank to Collegedale, luxury lives here.
Chattanooga Auto Square is your home for premium luxury automobiles.
And we have the largest selection in all of Chattanooga of pre-owned vehicles from every major brand.
Chattanooga Auto Square, Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Infiniti.
Luxury lives here.
The ability to try a criminal case in front of a jury is one of the most important skills a lawyer can have. Make sure you hire a lawyer that can do it. The law offices of Stephen Hatchett are here for your criminal needs in Athens, Cleveland, and surrounding areas. Contact their offices at 423-290-7698 or message them at facebook.com/Hatchett Law.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland, 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
Anna, can you count to 5 without saying 1 or 3?
Sure, 2, 4, 5.
That's right. Our big story is the 2 for $5 breakfast deal at Hardee's.
You got me.
I know, I did.
Bite into our made-from-scratch biscuits today.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com. home of the lifetime warranty.
Welcome back to the MixTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. And what we were doing over break, we were tallying up our record from last week with our picks. As you know, this is
Who was the winner last week?
This is a very I'm getting there. A very heated competition. But as you heard there, Brittany was a big winner last week, going 7-2, and that brings her record up to 56-27 on the year. So we have a fun little race right now going. So I sit in first at 59-25. So I have 3 games up on Brittany and Drew, who are tied in second at 56-27. How did he catch you? He went 4-5 last week. And then Derek, you were alone in last, 1 game out of second. You were 55-28. 4 games out of first place. 2 weeks left. Maybe some playoff games. Who knows? Let's turn it around this week. And by let's, I mean I hope you guys don't turn it around. I'm enjoying first place. But we're going to start from the top. East Hamilton versus Red Bank. East Hamilton is hosting. This is technically a region championship game. The winner will claim the number 1 seed in Region 3 4A. Red Bank 1 loss on the year. That came last week at Fayetteville, 38-2. Even with that 38 points they allowed, their defense is still allowing 10 points per game. Big region championship game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have to pick a little bit different here to try. But going first is gonna make it hard. But I think it's gonna be a great game between East Hamilton and Red Bank tomorrow night, and I'll get the picks rolling here, and I'll go with East Hamilton pulling a little bit of an upset based on their records. Okay, so I'll go with the Canes.
Oh boy, the whole maybe getting deeper.
yeah.
Rennie?
You know what? It's a tough one. I was trying to decide over break which one I was going to pick. I'm going to go with Red Bank just because they're only still allowing 10 points per game, and Drew was so bad last week. I'm just going to go opposite him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going Red Bank Lions.
Me, well, I'm a former Hurricane, so I do like East Hamilton. However, Ted Gatewood started the East Hamilton program, was there for about a decade, so I think he goes back in East Hamilton with the win with Red Bank.
Little revenge game there. Yeah, I agree. I think Red Bank gets a big win. I think Drew loses a game in the standings, just continuing the trend. But yeah, I think the Red Bank gets a big win. I think they're a very good football team. Throw last week out, I think they win the region, and they go deep in the playoffs. A little look ahead. Meanwhile, Sweetwater versus Tellico Plains. Sweetwater ranked 9th in Class 3A. They're 6-2 on the year, 4-0 in region play. Meanwhile, Tellico's 3-5, 0-4 in region play.
This one is one of the easier ones for us to pick. If it was girls basketball, I've made this reference before in picking games, I'd pick Tellico Plains. And we open up the season against Sweetwater here in a few weeks. Yeah.
Bulletin board.
But I'll go Sweetwater with the big win.
I can't. I agree. I'm sorry. I'm going Sweetwater just because you're giving up 35 points a game. Tellico, it's hard to win. So I'm going Sweetwater.
Yeah, I think Sweetwater gets their 7th win of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Sweetwater gets their 7th win, and it's nowhere close to close. Moving on, a game that is probably going to be a lot tougher to pick. Baylor, ranked number 2 in D2 AAA. They're traveling to Montgomery Bell Academy, who is ranked 1st in D2 AAA. Obviously, it's number 1 versus number 2 for a region championship. This is the 2nd time Baylor has played the number 1 team in D2 3A, and last time it went well for the Red Raiders. So we'll see if they can go up to Montgomery Bell and pull off another upset. Who are you going with here?
Yeah. This one's interesting because it's funny because you got the Baylor Red Raiders and then you got Montgomery Bell Academy, Big Red. I mean, is it a stick of gum? Is that their mascot? A stick of,
Wow. Big Red.
But once again, I wish I was going last. But since I'm going first, I think Baylor gets another win right here over the number 1 team in the state. And, that Division II playoff run is going to be fun. Yeah.
I think it'll be an exciting game. It is tough. Baylor's got to travel to MBA. That's tough. But you know what? I'm going to go Baylor with Drew. I hope they pull up, I guess, would you call it an upset?
Somewhat.
Somewhat? Sure. Yeah.
So Baylor has a tough schedule, but I think the bite and the cinnamon of the Big Red chewing gum takes out Baylor this year.
That's good. That's good.
So does that mean you're going with Montgomery Bell?
Montgomery Bell with the one.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with Baylor. I think Baylor's battle tested, and I think they go up to Montgomery Bell and win. Remember, Baylor's only loss was to the number one ranked team in Georgia, so I think this Baylor team's legit. I think they go up and prove it again at Montgomery Bell. Moving on, another fun game. You mentioned it. Get your tickets early. Polk County versus Lookout Valley. Polk County 5-3 on the year, 2-2 in region play. Coming off a win, they have lost 3 of their last 5. Meanwhile, Lookout Valley, the Yellow Jackets, they're coming off a 10-point loss. They're a 1A school facing a 3A school. You know, usually we don't see those 1A schools pull it out. You think it happens this week?
As much as I like Coach Payne at Lookout Valley and what he's done there, I do not think so. You know, Lookout Valley, they just don't have much depth. I mean, I think they've got like 20, 25 players on the roster. Polk County is battle tested. They've got more depth. I think this one is an easy win for Polk County over Lookout Valley.
I agree. I say the Wildcats win this one. They've lost their last 3 of 5, so they desperately need a win. I think they pull it out.
Yeah, I'm getting my tickets for the Polk County side.
Yeah, I think they only have one side.
Oh, well.
Anyways, I think Polk County gets a big win. I don't think Lookout Valley has the depth to hang with them. So I think, you know, Polk County, the Derek Davis train has been derailed, but it gets back on track with a win against Lookout Valley. Meanwhile, Silverdale Baptist Academy at Grace Christian Academy. This is a big region game for both these schools to stay on pace with the leaders in their region. Silverdale's coming off a bye week. Before that, they lost to the number 2 ranked team in the state by 3 points, Knox Webb 23-20. They beat Grace Christian Academy last year by 43 points. Meanwhile, Grace Christian's coming in with a loss versus Chat Central 62-14. Sorry, Chat Christian, not Chat Central. They're 4-4, 2-2 in region play. It's at Grace Christian Academy. Does that change anything for you?
No. I'll keep it short and sweet here. We're going to go Silverdale. I think they're going to get a big win, and you know, they've been clicking. I know the record may not show it, but they've had some tough games as well. But I think Silverdale gets a big win.
I don't have much to say besides Silverdale gets the big win.
I've picked Silverdale poorly all year, but I think Silverdale handles this one without a problem.
That makes me want to pick Grace Christian.
I mean, it's the curse.
It's the curse.
Go ahead and pick them.
I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm going to go Silverdale as well. I think you mentioned it. The record doesn't show it. They've played some tough games, but they're a very good football team, and I think they get a big win on the road.
Yeah.
McMinn Central versus Rockwood. McMinn Central, they're coming off a bye week. Previously, they got shut out by Loudon at home 29-0. They're 5-3, 3-1 in region play. Meanwhile, Rockwood, a little smaller school, they're coming off a win versus Wartburg. If you know where that is, shout out you. They dropped 62 points on them. They won 62-26. They beat McMinn Central 43-0 last year at Rockwood. This game is in Etowah/Inglewood. McMinn Central. It's at McMinn Central. What do you got?
Yeah, I think you know, with not a whole lot like on the line for McMinn Central, I don't know if they use this as like, you know, a chance to kind of save some guys, rest some guys. So with that being the case, I'm going to pick Rockwood to get the W.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, I mean, the next week against Sweetwater is so important. So I say Rockwood Tigers. Not knowing much about them, but I think they get the
I
win.
was going to say Rockwood because they scored 62 points last year, but I'm going to switch it and say McMinn Central and Matt Moody get the win now.
Oh.
Yikes. See, I was going to pick Rockwood because I thought that would make me special, you know? But apparently everybody else is rocking with it, which is
See
tough.
What you did there, rocking with Rockwood.
Yeah, I didn't even know I did that, see? But Rockwood, they're a smaller school. They're traveling to McMinn Central. I probably should pick them. You mentioned, you know, McMinn Central's gearing up for the Sweetwater game next week. See, I can't even talk. I'm so confused right now. So you know what? I'm just going to go with my heart because my head doesn't work. Give me McMinn Central. All right. Moving on, McMinn County at Loudon. McMinn County, they're ranked 10th in Class 5A, coming off a win at Walker Valley to secure the region championship. So this is another team that could be, you know, resting players. It was a close game last year. Loudon lost by 10, 31-21 at McMinn. This is at Loudon. Loudon's coming off a bye week. Previously, as you heard, last matchup, they beat McMinn Central 29-0. They're 5-3 on the year. McMinn County 6-2. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this one I think could go either way. I think, you know, there's been some games where McMinn County hasn't shown up, And then, I mean, obviously they showed up last week and got the win.
You would know.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And then Loudon, they're just kind of the same too, because, I mean, Brainerd beat Loudon. So it's like, it's kind of a weird toss-up, but I'm going to go with McMinn County here to get the win.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think that the Cherokees are going to pull it out. They just came off a huge win against Walker Valley, got some momentum, wanting to finish strong, going to McMinn County.
McMinn, they have secured the #1 spot, and they have been rolling of late. I think they rest some players, and I think Loudon pulls the upset.
There it is. I think McMinn County is rolling, as you mentioned, and I don't think even if they rest some players, I don't think it stops. I think they roll over Loudon, and I think they get a win on the road.
Should we call Loudon like the Loudon football team or the Loudon?
Oh yeah, Loudon Commanders.
Oh brother, Ooltewah versus Brainerd tomorrow night at 7:30. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ooltewah, they allowed 35 straight unanswered to Soddy Daisy to lose by a touchdown last week. They are 1-7, 0-2 in region play. Meanwhile, Brainerd, they beat Loudon. I don't know if you caught that. Brainerd beat Loudon. Yeah, I saw that. Brainerd's 3-5 on the year, 1-3 in region play. They've won 2 of their last 3, so they're hot. Going to Ooltewah, games at 7:30. What are you looking at?
I mean, I was so confident that Ooltewah was going to win last week.
Me too.
When I saw the score and it was 28-0, I was really happy. And then I saw the score was 35-28 Soddy, and I thought something's wrong. Like, it's a misprint. Like, this is not like somebody tweeted this wrong. Like, I'm not going to bail on the Goose Manning train right here. I think they get win number 2 over Brainerd. And I'm not going to say they're going to get a mercy rule win because it was so close last week. And
they were close to a running
clock. I know. But I'll pick Ooltewah over Brainerd to get things back on track.
I agree. I wanted Ooltewah to win so bad. I thought they were going to win last week. I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to be like Drew. I'm going to stick with them, and I think they get a win this week against Brainerd.
All right, listen, Ooltewah finally got some offense. Their defense struggled just a little bit in the second half. So I'm going to go with the hot team, Brainerd, 2 of 3. So I'm going Brainerd Panthers.
I like it. I like that pick. I think Brainerd gets a big win. I think that Ooltewah loss last week's. I mean, they're already struggling. It's a little demoralizing.
They may be ready to get in the gym. Yeah, that ball was.
It's getting closer to basketball season. Yeah. You mentioned it, but I think Brainerd they're trending up. Ooltewah's trending down. I think Brainerd gets the win. Moving on to some of our local games. This will be interesting. Cleveland, they got eliminated from the playoffs last week. They're hosting Giles County. Giles County, it's a long drive from Pulaski, but Cleveland made the drive last year and lost 33-20. Cleveland 4-4 on the year. Giles County ranks 6th in Class 3A. They are 6-2 on the year, 3-0 in region play. Obviously, being a smaller school, they'll have less depth than Cleveland. They're traveling to Cleveland. What you got here?
Cleveland, a couple weeks ago or whatever, 3 weeks ago was the talk of the town when they beat Maryville, and it was an awesome win for them. And then they lose last week to eliminate them from the playoff contention, and so I don't know where their mindset is. They might be ready to be in the gym with Coach Tucker, or on the wrestling mats or whatever the case may be. But for Coach Wheeler's sake, I hope that they don't throw in the towel yet. I hope that they can find a way these last 2 weeks to kind of finish strong. But I'm going to go with Giles County to get the win.
Well, just because Drew Leinert broke my heart when he came up to me at halftime and said, I saw you picked Bearden, it just crushed me. So even though I did win the pick, Drew, this is for you. I'm going Cleveland. I say they pick up the win this week.
He was crushed. He had a terrible second half
killed
because
me.
of that conversation.
Wow.
So,
wow.
So, listen, Cleveland.
He said it, Drew, not me.
Yeah, Drew didn't handle it. Listen, Cleveland is, you said it earlier, Cleveland has been in pretty much in every game, and they haven't had their breakdowns like they do sometimes. They just kind of get blown out. So I think the minds will be right. It's senior night at Cleveland. I think Cleveland has a big win tomorrow night.
I agree. I'm just looking at the rankings. If you look at all 4 of Cleveland's losses, they're just some good football teams. Red Bank, they have 1 loss. Bearden, Farragut, Bradley, they're all ranked in Class 6A. I think this Cleveland team's a very good football team, and they have a good win. They beat McMinn County. So it's
He's
just
sucking up, guys.
It's just been a tough
He's
schedule.
trying to get you guys
It's just been a
reeled
tough
back
schedule.
in.
No. I think Cleveland is a better football team. I think Cleveland is still a good football team. I think they'll be
Why didn't you
focused.
pick them all those
And
games in the beginning?
I think Cleveland comes out with the win. Go Raiders. Moving on, Bradley. They are traveling to Ray County. Walker Valley.
Yeah, you can keep talking about Bradley. That's fine.
Okay, I skipped the Walker Valley, guys.
That's all right. We can save the best for last.
Fair enough. Bradley at Ray County. Bradley 6-2 on the year, 2-2 in the region play. They can no longer host a playoff game, but they're in the playoffs no matter what, thanks to Cleveland's loss. Meanwhile, Ray County, they're 2-2 in their region. They're going to be going to the playoffs as well, but they are 2-6 overall. Their only wins have come against Howard and somebody else, Ottawa. So Ray County with 2 less than impressive wins and 6 less than impressive losses. Meanwhile, Bradley, they're very hurt. This game's at Ray County. That plays a little bit of a factor. You gonna go with the Bears?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick Bradley in this. I was at our game at Ray a few weeks ago, and this Ray team is not like the Ray teams of the past. So I'll go with Bradley and Coach Floyd, and they get another win.
I'm going Bradley. I think that they play these next 2 weeks, as we talked about earlier, like a playoff game. They've got to win. They've had struggled here lately, so we're going to get a win this week.
Well, Ray County's trending up with a win, and Bradley lost last week. So I think this game's closer than it should be, but Bradley wins.
I agree with you. I think Ray County's trending up. I think Bradley, some insider information, they have some injuries on their defensive side, which makes it harder to stop the wing T, if you see where I'm going. I think Ray County gets their signature win on the season. I think they win 2 in a row and beat Bradley at home.
Wow. I thought it was at Ray County.
Yeah, Ray County. They get the
at
win.
home. I got you. I got you.
I picked Ray County. Sorry.
Sorry, I was so confused.
Saving the best for last, allegedly. Walker Valley hosting Upperman. Walker Valley has yet to win a home game. They will try tomorrow at 7 o'clock, hosting Upperman, who is ranked 4th in Class 4A. They're coming off an overtime win against DeKalb County. Upperman 6-2 on the year, 3-1 in region play. They beat Walker Valley last year by 2 touchdowns. Walker Valley 3-5 overall, 2-1 in region play. We mentioned a win next week against Howard. They could still host a playoff game, but this week they're facing Upperman. Who are you picking?
Yeah, it's one of the I love our coaching staff and our players. I got a lot of them in class, and it's fun to talk to them each week, whether it's a win or a loss. I just, me, since I've coached for so long, it's enjoyable just kind of hear their thoughts at times, and and I always try to get insight for the show here too. But a lot of times they don't share a lot of info with you. That's okay. But Coach Ashby and Coach Harvey, our defensive Coach Harvey's our defensive coordinator. Coach Ashby coaches our DBs. I was talking to them earlier today. They're eating some quesadillas at lunch or something. They were like, "You're interrupting lunch," but I was like, hey. But I was like, they feel really good. And if those 2 guys are extremely realist, I guess you could say, when things come to, and so they want to get things on track as we head into the playoffs. We got 2 games left before the playoffs. So, long story short, I'm still going to pick Walker Valley, but I think that we need to get on track. We've got to get things clicking.
I'll just make it exciting and interesting and just go opposite Drew because I didn't know who to pick on this. I'm going to go Upperman Bees. Bees.
Listen, Walker Valley, at one point we talked about being the best team in the area, and I don't think they've won a game since, but yet they're the ones hosting, so it's a bizarre world. So them being the best team in the area will lose and still be better than everyone else. So Upperman Bees.
I don't know what kind of logic you just used.
I don't either, but I got Upperman.
But I'm rolling with it. I think Walker Valley, they have a curse. I don't think they can win at home. I don't know what happened in the offseason, but they have yet to win at home, and I think that streak continues as Upperman gets the win at Walker Valley. That concludes our picks. They were definitely interesting. And we will see where that leaves our standings next week going into the final week of the regular season. 11 great games. You can go out and watch them all wherever you're at. Meanwhile, our local games, Cleveland is hosting Giles County. 7 o'clock kickoff, you can listen on Mix 104.1. Walker hosting Upperman. 7 o'clock kickoff, you can listen on 99.1 The Fiesta. And Bradley Central traveling to Ray County. 7:30 kickoff, you can listen on Talk 101.3 The Buzz. That wraps up Week 10. We have one more week left, and we hope you'll join us next week. From all of us here at the station, Austin Chadwick producing, Gideon Ratcliffe behind the cameras, Drew Linus, Brittany Jackson-Tucker, Derek Morris, I'm Ryan Lovelace. You've watched the MixTV.TV High School Football Thursday nights. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.